Did you know that the coffee bean isn't really a bean at all? Rather, it's the pit that's found inside the coffee cherry. Coffee was discovered by a goat herder in Ethiopia, and that discovery led to 2.25 billion cups of coffee being drunk every day. So it's definitely the shake up to wake up. Welcome to Kaleidoscope with me, Savithri Rodrigo, celebrating International Coffee Day, which falls tomorrow. Our partners on the show have to be the best. Skills for Inclusive Growth and Australian Aid, Sri Lanka Life, CDB and the Morning Newspaper. Thank you for being the best collaborators ever. Keep us on your radar, subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn.
Did you know you can open a digital fixed deposit with just 5,000 rupees? Open a CDB iDeposit digital fixed deposit today. CDB, your friend.
We start off with our weekly roundup on CDB Snapshot with a quick update on the expected timeline for Sri Lanka's debt restructuring process. Staff-level agreements with the IMF will be completed this month, which will include sharing preliminary information with creditors under non-disclosure agreements and follow-up technical sessions with the IMF on debt sustainability analysis. Reaching agreements with creditors is expected from Q4 of 2022 to Q2 of 2023. The ADB says Sri Lanka's economy will contract by 8.8% this year. Merchandise exports in August topped $1.2 billion, while cumulative exports from January to August increased by 12% to $8.85 billion. Artifacts of 4 civilizations spanning 12,000 years, including an ancient sculpture of Vishnu, is discovered near Chennai.
I can't let go of my goals just because I lost my job.
You stay focused on your goals. We will be there to take on any risk. You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Sri Lanka Life.
Welcome to Sri Lanka Life News Capsule and our Pethiyagoda pages with award-winning scientist, conservationist, taxonomist and public policy advocate Rohan Pethiyagoda. The Lotus Tower in Colombo is lit up and open to the public. This Tower of Vanity has cost a phenomenal $165.5 million, $105 million for construction, $4.5 million for rehousing those who used to live on that land, and $56 million for land compensation. Doing the math, the tower will have to rake in millions of US dollars per year just to break even. Rohan, just asking you, now that the Lotus Tower is up and running, how can we make this white elephant pay back?
This thing is never going to pay us back. It's never going to break even. Even if you target a rate of return of 7%, which is the rate of interest we are paying China for the loan we've taken to build this, it'll have to net about 12 million rupees a day just to break even. And that's never going to happen. Let's look at the bright side of this thing. To me, at least, there's a lot to be said for the design of this structure. The onion shape of the dome, to me, comes from early Islamic architecture, from Syria, from Turkey, and so on. And I was thinking, what better apology could we offer the Muslims of Sri Lanka for the appalling treatment they've received these past 3 years? And then there's also the quite bizarre shape of this thing, which people are talking about. And to me, that's a positive as well, because how better could we remember our political leaders than with Asia's largest phallic symbol? You couldn't make this up if you tried.
So there is no hope?
There's none. I think we just got to write this off. It's like Mattala Airport or Hambantota Port. You just write it off and forget about it. It's just, we have to suck it up as the cost of tolerance of the people of a kleptocratic government.
So given that feasibility studies were not embarked on, before carrying out this project. How can we prevent this type of massive wastage in the future?
I don't think you can. The thing is, if you had strong institutions, a judiciary that was strong enough, and a police that was strong enough, an attorney general's department that was strong enough, you could do these things. But we know that all these institutions have been tainted at some stage. And because of that, I don't think you can prevent things like this from happening.
Time for a look at our market news. This week at the Colombo Stock Exchange, the all-share price index was down by 1%, with the average daily turnover at 4 billion rupees. WTI oil prices moved up from recent lows of $78 per barrel and settled at just below $81 per barrel. Gold prices continued to remain weak and is pegged around $1,653 per ounce. It's a bad hair day for the hair and beauty industry, given the import ban on products that are imperative for the continuance of the industry. The industry employs 500,000 people, a majority of them micro-entrepreneurs who are right now facing the closure of business, unemployment and the loss of income for breadwinners. I asked Managing Director of RF Asia International, Roshan Abesinghe, for a situation report. Roshan, when you look at your total industry, what is the contribution that you make to the larger scheme of things of the economy, and also what is the total import value of your industry?
See, Savithri, you'll be surprised that this, industry employs more than 500,000 people in different areas, like salons that are small houses. Then there are the makeup artists. There are different types of, people that are employed in this, and most of them are breadwinners. But the import bill is not even $2 million a month, which is a fraction of what the government actually spends. Annually, we don't even, bother the government for not even $20 million. We pay the government 80 to 90% in terms of cess and duties. Look at it from a salon perspective. Right? The salons are used to certain brands, right? And those brands are international brands where consumers are used. There is a segment of people that use it. So when those brands are not available, what happens is they go looking for others. So the salon will then start to lose their business, which would mean retrenching staff.
So forget spinning hair into gold. Scientists have just managed to turn plastic into diamonds and a new type of water by blasting it with lasers. Read 4 times faster and do that with a gift. Just let us know and we'll give you a free speed reading program with Sanjeev, which you can join from anywhere in the world. Up next is S4IG Let's Talk with Thangavel Shaktivel. There is no doubt that Sri Lankans have talent, but whether those talents are navigated in the right direction is another matter. Micro-entrepreneurs, for instance, have no choice but to be a part of the pack. There is no thinking, no innovation. Having seen the gap and the dire need to push-start these micro-entrepreneurs, Skills for Inclusive Growth, partnered by Australian Aid, decided to take on the task of helping these entrepreneurs think differently, to be prepared for ups and downs, be in control of your business and to take the plunge. With me today is National Business Development Specialist at Skills for Inclusive Growth, Thangavel Shaktivel, who has been working to upskill these entrepreneurs, and he joins us on S4IG Let's Talk. Shaktivel, welcome. Now, one of the biggest issues that has come up, especially post-pandemic, is that entrepreneurs, and specifically micro-entrepreneurs, are not prepared for eventualities. How does a micro-entrepreneur even understand eventualities like that?
When we talk with the micro-enterprises as well as did programs, what we understood was they suddenly come up with a shock. They don't know how to do it. So what we do actually is work with them to make them understand these are the natural things going to happen because of the trends going on, and we try to make them understand how to face it, how to learn it from them and move forward.
What are the challenges that micro-entrepreneurs face when trying to innovate and also to think out of the box and to take a risk?
As entrepreneurs are starting their journey in a closed circle or closed environment, they were not ready to see beyond that line. So when new things come in, like in the pandemic, for example, they didn't have a thought or way of settling it and facing it in the way to sort out those things. So what they do normally is get panic, and then they didn't know how to move forward. What we do with them again is make them understand these are the realities, and there are different phases, especially in conceptualization phase of a business. They become more tensed or stressed. But when it comes to growth level enterprises, they are facing very nicely, and we have seen very good examples that they were able to learn out of it and make good decisions.
What about access to finance, which is one of the biggest problems that micro entrepreneurs have?
What we do, we already make them aware about the importance of the relationship with the banks. From the beginning itself, they invite the financial people to their ceremonies, as well as they get some small advices. Through that informal connection, they were able to show their innovative projects to them and get some fund for that.
How do we nurture micro entrepreneurs to take that risk and actually take that big plunge?
One point is we can, as I told you, we can work with them to get that intelligence, how to understand the environment and make maximum out of it. The other way is our program was able to come up with a project called Professional Business Coaching Services, where the coaches go and try to make them understand through the key performance indicators where they are, how to go. So through that intelligence, they were able to move forward. So we think that can be one of the important way of helping the entrepreneurs.
Has there ever come a time when you have had to change the way a person is doing their business or the product they make and make it completely different?
Definitely, most of the time, but we make sure that they understand that and make the change. It's not us changing. That's where the business coaching is very important. Consultancy is I give some ideas to the client, whereas coaching is working with the client to make the client understand the geography or the point where the person is, and then to choose which place the person wanted to go. So the coaching here is going to help them to understand how to analyze the opportunity, calculate the risk, then move forward with the systems what we have.
So if we do what is right, really, we can get women as well as persons with disabilities into the economic ecosystem and watch them contribute to the economy.
Correct,
yes?
and we have evidences too from Polonnaruwa, from Ampara, Arugambe. We were able to bring them with the help of the husbands, wives and the society, especially the serf ladies in Arugambe, you can understand. So those things are really happening, and as you said, there will be a good day, because the things what we are doing, even though it's contributing in a small way, but we are going forward with a positive message.
A fusion of Serendip and the scenic. Serendip is an upcycled fashion brand that commits to zero waste practices for a sustainable environment. And here's a dauntless young woman whose perseverance made it all possible. Suhara Malvatage is on Life in 60.
I self-learned dressmaking back in 2020 during the COVID-19 lockdown. So during my free time, I did a lot of trial and error learning to make clothes. And each time I made a finished garment, I realized that there's always a lot of waste fabric that's been generated. And I made a promise to myself the next time I would make clothes to follow the 3R concept, which we still follow up to date. So what we really do is we reuse textile factory waste, and we reduce that waste further by making clothes. And from that, again, we divide it into avoidable waste and the unavoidable waste. So the avoidable waste is what we reuse back into our zero waste bucket hats, maybe to make scrunchies, and the unavoidable waste is saved to stuff it into upcycled dress form. So what's next for Serendip is that we expect to go global, but even doing so, we also want to create employment opportunities, especially for the female workforce in our country, to make sure that they have a happy work environment and to empower and uplift their livelihoods. At the same time, we also want to do something positive to our country's environment, that we could, leave a positive impact for the next generations.
We'll be back next Friday. Make life worth living.